Do we want to move on to Sloppy Joe?
Yeah, let's move on. Let's get talking about Joe Biden.
Joe Biden. So
Okay.
I first wanted to talk about, just in general, Joe Biden's electability. Chris,
Okay.
do you want to take the lead?
Yeah, I'll take the lead on this. Okay, so you can see why, at the very surface level, why Joe Biden is almost a perfect candidate, because he he was a senator from Delaware for many years. He was the vice president to the first African American president, and also he when he first started, his polling with minority voters was fantastic. So you just take a look at those few things, and you immediately, I mean, really without even seeing a face, you see a person that could be a heavy contender for president, has a lot of qualifications on his side. However, then he opens up his mouth. And I mean, it showed in the debate that his speaking skills have certainly deteriorated from what he was as a vice president. Because we were all much younger then, but if you remember those vice president debates, he held his own against the other vice presidential candidates.
Oh,
So
what was Romney's VP candidate? Wasn't
that the oil girl?
It was Paul Ryan.
I think Paul Ryan. Yeah, he did pretty good against Paul Ryan, and he did way better than Sarah Palin with McCain.
Yes.
Well, it's been 12 years since Sarah Palin, and Sarah Palin.
But yeah.
So you can just but just on plain electability alone, he has the qualifications for it. He's done a lot of work in his career that would show that he is at least worthy of a presidential bid. However, it's clearly shown that he is not as strong a speaker as he once was. He has the tendency to not really think before he speaks, and overall has a hard time really getting words out, and that's something that would be definitely worrying on the presidential level.
Well, and you see how how much presidents deteriorate during their term. Like Obama, from day one to his last day, it looked like he aged 40 years. He looked like a teenager going into office, and he left like an old man. So I'm afraid of even if it's just 4 years, what is 4 years going to do on Joe Biden's mental health?
And let's just be clear that the reason Barack Obama aged that much is because the president is a hard job. This is the toughest job in the entire country. So certainly somebody who already is somebody that's already an old man going in and doing the hardest job is something that is definitely worrying.
Joe's electability. Yeah. I understand how he won the nomination, or he hasn't won it yet, but he's gonna win it.
He's gonna win it.
Tulsi Gabbard's gonna come back, I swear.
The only other person that really contended with him was Bernie Sanders. And personally, a lot of people disagree, but I think Joe Biden has a much better chance of winning the election than Bernie Sanders. Bernie, I don't think Bernie would have gotten the moderate vote as much as Joe Biden is going to get. I'm a lot more worried about Joe Biden winning than I'm about Bernie.
I'm going to speak from personal here. I personally think the moderates get way overhyped during election season, especially with how divided our government is now. I think it was kind of found because I'm pretty sure a bunch of independents went towards Hillary in the election as well. I mean, she won the popular vote.
Yeah, the problem was people like me didn't show up. The people who feel left out by the classic Democratic Party
So
and who really don't like the Republican Party.
Yeah, so I think I think every year we're kind of thinking like, well, you got to get the independent voters. And it's true. You do have to get the independent voters. But we have some sort of weird view that if you don't get the independent voters, you're not winning the election, when that's not.
That's a good point.
That's not particularly true. And almost everybody leans one way or the other. So there's very few people out there that are pure stuck in the middle, decide on vote day. I think he does better specifically in the South, and that'll help big time in the popular vote for sure. However, at the same time, he's not going to win Alabama. He's not going to win Mississippi. He has a chance in Louisiana, but that's really all it is. It's a chance.
It does. Oh, go ahead, Colton.
I think this is going to come down to the Rust Belt and see who wins the Rust Belt. It's definitely going to depend on that. And maybe Florida. I haven't kept up with that.
It always comes down to Florida. Look at every election for the past so many years.
Except for last time.
Yeah. We don't talk about last time.
But so I mean, I guess, and he does have a chance at winning. He does have a chance at winning Florida. I think the latest poll there showed it was pretty close.
Yeah.
I don't remember who was favored, but it showed it was pretty close. I think a lot of this will come down to Michigan and Pennsylvania, though. You gotta win. You gotta win those states. What does help Joe is that he's from Pennsylvania. He's from Scranton, so.
Yeah, it's really going to come down to the kind of purple states. My biggest worry with it is he really does kind of give off the same vibe as Hillary, that kind of same establishment Democrat who is qualified, who's been doing this forever, has skeletons in their closet, but is still a somewhat viable candidate. So I'm afraid it's going to be a bit of a repeat of 2016, but also Joe's a different guy. So
we'll have to see, because he definitely has baggage to his name. But at the same time, in my opinion, the baggage that currently is on Joe Biden was not the same as the baggage that was put on Hillary Clinton. At least what the Republicans were professing the baggage as is, it's harder to get that to stick to Biden than it was to stick to Hillary.
That's true.
Yeah.
I haven't heard the same negative things about Biden, about Hillary, that I've heard. Never mind. I don't know what I'm saying.
One thing that I've noticed a lot of is that with Biden, there's a lot more like people who are saying, I'll vote for Biden in November. It's a lot more like, yeah, I know he sucks, but he's not X or Y, so I'm going to vote for him. And, but in comparison to like Hillary, if you were like, I don't like Hillary at all, I don't think I want to vote for her, even though I believe in democratic values, you'd get canceled on Twitter in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
People got so mad. But now if you're like, Biden sucks, like big time, people are like, yeah, we know.
Yeah, certainly the Democratic Party is having a unity crisis of some kind, and this will really show if the party is able to unify in some way, shape, or form, or because I mean, a lot of leaning Democrats say that Trump's administration has been bad. Definitely progressives would say the Trump administration has been awful, and he should have been gone a long time ago, whether via impeachment or just make him resign or something like that. But if they still are not willing to come out and vote and change that, that just shows that really unification within the party is going to be near impossible. But if they do come out and vote for Joe Biden and do happen to get Trump out of office, then that will show good signs towards possibly the Democratic Party not needing to split up in the future.
Yeah. Being a progressive, being on that Bernie Bros side of the politics, it's really hard because I really don't like Donald Trump, but I also really, really don't like Joe Biden.
Yeah.
It's like, do I want the asshole in a red tie or the asshole in a blue tie? That's really what it's come down to. And obviously they're not the same, but people were saying a lot in 2016 of picking the lesser evil. And I felt like that was a little bit hyperbolized compared especially to now. Like, if I would have known in 2016 that Joe Biden would have been the choice in 2020, I'd be like, okay, I can accept Hillary.
Yeah. Personally, like, Joe Biden's politics probably more aligned with mine than obviously Trump's, and then really many of the other candidates within that were trying for the Democratic nomination. However, when you do have the kind of baggage that Biden has, whether it's the Tara Reade stuff, whether it's Trump tried to deflect his own issues in Ukraine onto Hunter Biden, but you look into it, there's clearly something fishy that was going on with Hunter Biden up there in Ukraine. And so you just have all that stuff on him, and then you take a look at his possible mental capability of pulling off the presidency. It begins to think from more a moral side of it. Is this the person you want to vote for? And then we speak of lesser of two evils. I don't think we really should be voting somebody that in our head we think is a possible evil. So it will be interesting to see. But right now, both sides to me need to show some semblance of they're actually going to do something for our country rather than just do enough that you can win another election.
Yeah. I'm really interested on Colton's take, or like the conservative take on the Tara Reade allegations. What do you think about that?
I have no clue what that is.
So,
I don't know that at all.
The Tara Reade allegations, basically, to sum it up, I'll make sure to put some fine literature on it in the description. But basically, Tara Reade says that allegedly Joe Biden sexually assaulted her in the mid-90s.
Yeah, okay. I've heard about that. I don't know the name. I heard about that. We'll have to see. I'm not sure. I haven't really kept up with that trial or anything or whatever's going on. But I'll have to follow up on you with. I'll have to follow up with that maybe next time.
In my opinion, like I said in the intro, I like to call it hypocrisy on both sides. This Tara Reade thing is an exact thing of what hypocrisy is on both sides. Because when Trump had his sexual assault stuff, Democrats were all like, we have to believe him, #MeToo, and the Republicans were very, they're just saying this to destroy his credibility and all that and all that stuff. Not everything needs to be believed. But now with Tara Reade, it's all completely flipped on their head. Now Republicans are the ones saying you have to believe her, and the Democrats are the ones saying no, she's lying. She's trying to ruin Joe's election bid. Personally, I think it's a very credible allegation. Certainly there's some stuff out there that would cause possible skepticism, but there was also stuff that caused possible skepticism against Donald Trump. It was some of his cases. I do think the coming out with the allegation, its timing was slightly suspicious. But obviously if a person is like, if she was traumatized, not really willing to talk, but finally was ready to talk, and also is now seeing him possibly become president, and you want everybody to have the full story before he could become president. So
Yeah.
it can go both ways, but I don't really like hearing from a side that I've agreed with for so long that you need to listen to them. You need to take the proper steps to make sure that whether or not it's true or not. Now just outright, without even looking at it, calling Tara Reid a liar and is trying to ruin Joe Biden's election. So
just from what I read in the past 10 minutes, all I can say right now is the news outlets and the media like to get the first story out there. They like to push their own narrative and push whatever they can. Well,
not really with this Tara Reid stuff. She really, part of the reason that this has come in so late into the primary season, if we can even call it primary season anymore, is because she would go to these news organizations. She would go to organizations like Me Too, and she was turned away. They said Me Too decided not to help Tara Reid out because Joe Biden was a viable candidate for president, and they're a nonprofit, so they could lose nonprofit status or funding.
And that's where, unfortunately, in certain cases, those media organizations are proving Donald Trump right. Because how can you call yourself a news organization when that's a major story and you selectively choose to not report on it? Unfortunately, that definitely plays into the Donald Trump media's biased. Media is just trying to push a narrative, which, however, we've all pretty much known that sources have been trying to push narratives for a long, long time. So this is why that just proves that media, whether we like it or not, media has become biased in one form or another, and you really need to read around. We need to read pretty much everywhere, because not a single place is actually going to give you the full story.
Yeah.
I'm especially disappointed in the New York Times reporting with the Tara Reid allegations, because prior to this, as a flaming liberal or flaming progressive, New York Times was kind of that go-to place for me as far as reliability. And then it takes them months to report on these Tara Reid allegations, and it's not, putting the facts out. It's about how Joe Biden denies them, and then they talk about it. And like, when I heard about this, I was like, what a shocker. Old creepy guy who has been seen given shoulder rubs and stuff. What? He touched someone? He sexually assaulted someone? What a shocker.
Yeah,
People
just
definitely need to wait for the full story to come out before they make their opinion. And that's something that everyone struggles with, I think, because it's kind of human nature to judge other people right as you see them. And I think that's something that everyone needs to work with, especially me even. Need to stop just judging and deciding one way before they even hear what the story is.
Yeah, because legally it is innocent until proven guilty.
At least
but
not on Twitter, Chris. Not on Twitter.
No, I understand not on Twitter, But
Twitter runs the world now.
yeah, but
Twitter is the court of law.
It just my big thing with it is how the media obviously kind of just chose not to cover this, kind of hoping it would go away on its own. Until Fox News got a hold of it, then it was everywhere. But that's kind of my big thing with it. Not whether or not Joe Biden potentially did it or not. It's when clearly people are just choosing to believe certain things and not others. It kind of shows the hypocrisy of, well, you're not doing it to benefit victims. You're doing it to benefit you and your narrative. So I don't know. We can probably move on. I probably have about 20-ish more minutes before I have to go. So
okay. The Twitter topic probably won't take too long anyway.
All right.
Since we've kind of hinted on that a bit already.
Mm-hmm.
So who wants to take the reins on this one?